Okay, congratulations to Pittsburgh finding a way to be able to get it done. We didn't help ourselves. There was a lot of plays that we could have been able to make, some decisions. There's always things. Anytime that we don't get it done, it's a collective effort as a team, but there was a lot of things that we didn't do to be able to finish this game. Execution on teams, whether it be some execution offensively where you set yourself behind the sticks. Defensively, you can't have 12 men on the field. You got to be aligned in the right spots in some critical third downs, and they were able to finish the game. We weren't. I'm not going to sit here up here and make any excuses because I know there's a lot of things that we can do to be better collectively, that I can do a better job of. We're going to get ourselves off the mat. We're going to go back to work, and we're going to be a resilient group. And this is a disappointing deal today. But all I know how to do is be able to respond, and I trust that those guys in that locker room will do the same thing.
Did you think the spot was correct?
It doesn't matter what I think. That was the spot they made.
Would you have challenged it if you had the time?
What's that? It's not a challengeable play that I can, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and make any excuses about stuff that didn't go down there. Those plays shouldn't have come down to that if we executed like we were capable of. And you guys saw the same stuff that I did, but it doesn't do any good. That was what was called, and that's what we have to be able to live with.
What's the conversation with Brett Maher at this point after today?
We'll look at it and we'll see. He's got to be better. That's 7 points that we missed out on that were key and critical for the momentum of the game and the type of game that it was. And those were tough ones today.
What made Najee Harris so difficult to defend?
You know, I thought we did a good job bottling them up. They weren't really getting anything early on in the game, and then there was just a couple vertical seams. He was, it's like anything else. You got to be able to play a full 4 quarters, and we have to be able to do that. There's some things that we'll go back and look at and see where we can be better. But you give those guys credit. I got a lot of respect for Coach Tomlin and the way that those guys continue to compete, and that's what they they did
The defense allowed just 6 first downs in the first 3 quarters, then 9 in the first 2 drives of the fourth.
Yep, that was tough. I think they did a good job executing, and we didn't. And so that's what it boils down to. We'll go back. We'll look at the film. Like to be able to sustain better possession offensively, capitalize on some opportunities and some plays that were there. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do that today.
Coach, what worked well for you guys defensively in the first half, and then
what
kind of adjustments did they make?
Yeah, I don't know that they necessarily made any adjustments. It's just as the game starts to unfold, and it's just like anything else. You got to be able to consistently execute, and you got to be able to consistently respond, whether things go our way or whether they don't. There wasn't really many adjustments that they made other than, they ended up just being able to make some plays. They got some opportunities to be able to convert on some third downs. They ended up, getting a couple things going in the run game. And, the short field that we gave, the turnover at the beginning of the second half was just a killer. And, that was a really poor decision. I put our guys in a tough spot right there, and that one's going to eat at me. But, we got to be able to play better complementary football. I like the way that we responded, ended up being able to get the 2-point conversion, and then they were able to, kind of bounce back and counter, and you give them credit for being able to do that today.
Sean, just your thoughts on the game on the ground, missing key players, obviously. In this game.
Yeah, I thought we ran the ball well. I thought we did some good things. I thought Darrell and both Royce, I thought we were able to get some really good removal. I thought that started from the very jump. They did some things that bottled us up a little bit, and we got to be able to figure out, and it starts with me, figuring out what are some more solutions so that you don't get so regulated, and those will be the things that we have to look at and be honest with ourselves about where we can be better, and like I said, it starts with me.
You just talked about the interception, and so what did you see on that, and what was the situation?
Bottom line is that, we had hitches on the outside, little option route from the 3 spot and seams at the 2 spot. Thought it was going, we obviously thought it was going to be a single high. Levi Wallace rolled up as a cloud. Got Cooper working an option on the mic, and you don't feel that overlap from the hook player when Watt ended up dropping out of there, and that's what led to the turnover.
Sean, why do you think it's been so difficult for you guys to string 2 victories in a row together?
I think the NFL's hard, Gary. I think that it's challenging every single week. We've lost and played some pretty good teams. And that's what the goal is going to continue to be, is figure out how do we string together those consistent performances. Thought we were in a position to be able to do that today, and ultimately we didn't get that done, and I got to be able to figure out, all right, how do we do that? How do we string together some consecutive performances? But ultimately it's really about how do we look at this, how do we correct it, and how do we move forward next week, because this game is over with. But it is something that, it's an honest and it's a fair question. And I think, the NFL is very challenging, and to get wins on a consistent basis is really difficult. But we got to figure out how to do it at a more consistent clip, because I think we can, and I trust that we will.
Sean, before the season, you talked about kind of the inexperience on the roster, that the goal was kind of to improve week after week. through 7 weeks, how do you kind of evaluate?
I think that's been illustrated in a lot of ways. I think there's a lot of things. I think the biggest challenge is the consistency through 4 quarters, the complementary football. You look at it, there's some really good opportunities, for us to be able to kind of just run away with some games or be able to kind of extend some leads, and we haven't been able to do that. And when we get into some of these tight games, how do we figure out a way to finish and get some of the results that we've gotten? Whether you look at the Indianapolis game, being able to pull away against the Cardinals in the second half and being able to pull away against Seattle in week 1. Those are the things that we want to try to be able to replicate, but easier said than done. We have to figure out how to be able to do it collectively, but I love working with this group. I'm more encouraged now than I was at the very beginning of the season, and I'm an optimistic guy, but I see enough good stuff that I know a lot of the stuff that went down today, we've done it at a better level. It's just how do we figure out a way to be able to reach our guys? How do we make better decisions in these critical moments? And how do we be able to play off of one another? And that's all you can do, and that's all I know how to do.
Sean, this might not be the best time to, after a loss, but, you kind of talked again before the season about kind of living the things that you preach.
Yeah.
How do you think that, I've seen you mostly on Zoom and stuff or on YouTube. Seems like kind of the energy's back. How do you feel?
I feel very energized. I feel very disappointed right now in the moment because there's always things that you want to do to be able to help these guys do well and have the success. And, you eat yourself up as a coach because you want to always try to be able to put them in the right spots. I know our players feel exactly the same way, and so do our other coaches, but this is a blessing. I love it. I'm having a whole lot of fun. The challenges are what you really love about the NFL, and I'm excited about responding to this challenge because these setbacks are our challenges, but they're setups for an opportunity to be able to respond and be the person that I've talked to you guys about. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm going to be perfect, but I absolutely love this. I love working with this team, and we're going to keep swinging.
Darion rotated in. Kobe started the game on the outside, and Darion rotated in. But with some of the rotations through the game, can it be tough for the consistency, for the rhythm of the game if corners are rotating like that?
No, that's normal. I think when you get into a bunch of different subgroupings, you've been accustomed to seeing us play corners more regularly where they play a good portion of snaps. I think that's something that is good if it fits for what you're looking for, but we felt like based on DK's availability later on in the week and figuring out what is that balance, we'll look at it. We got to do a better job of communicating the personnel changes, though, because you can't give them 5 yards when they're in those scoring positions, and those will be things that we'll look at and we'll have to be able to clean up. Okay? Thanks, guys.
your overall thoughts from today?
Frustrating to lose, disappointing. Just didn't do enough in the second half to get it done. Obviously, left some plays out there that wish we had back. But good football team we just played. We're in the game the whole game. Felt like we had control of it for a decent amount of it. Just didn't finish it. Sean
said he put you and the offense in a bad position on the interception. Can you take us through what you saw in that play?
I'm not going to go into depth with it, but they had a nice coverage call for what we had going. That being said, I got to be smart with the ball, make sure we end drives with kicks.
You talked about trying to put together those right 4 quarters all together at once. Like, how frustrating is it at this point to still be trying to get over that hump?
Well, I mean, football's an imperfect game. If you play every play perfect, it'd be a hell of a score. But we got to continue to try to push ourselves, continue to work, to be more consistent and give ourselves opportunities to close these games out. And when we do get the chance to do it, we got to come through.
Matthew, you guys were able to stay pretty efficient with the run game today.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see out of Darrell and Royce and what they were able to do?
I thought they did a great job. I thought our guys up front did a really nice job controlling the line of scrimmage. Our guys on the outside really competed well. Their safeties and corners and nickels were down in the box quite a bit. And, our guys were covering them up in the run game. And I thought, all the guys that we handed the ball to today did a really nice job.
How refreshing is it to be able to lean on a young guy like Puka Nacua when Cooper starts off a little slow with those 2 drop passes? How refreshing is that?
Oh, it's a team effort. Always is. I thought Puka did a really nice job today when he got his opportunities. Everybody that had chances, we had chances to make plays, and when Puka got those chances, he made them, which was was great.
Piggybacking off of that, how much do you have to kind of put more thought into when Cup is making those drops and
I'm not worried about that at all, to be honest with you. Got total trust in everybody that's running out there and trying to get open for me. They're doing everything they can, and those things are going to happen. He was open a couple times 2 weeks ago against the Eagles, and I missed him, so it's part of it. It's not going to be a perfect game. Proud of the way he bounced back and got involved.
Darrell wasn't even on the practice squad when he got the call this week. What stood out to you about his, 5 days back before he played in this game?
Yeah, I mean, he's got obviously a lot of familiarity with what we do here. Was just proud of his ability to step back in and carry the load with it for us today. He was really good in the pass game and in the run game. Assignment wise, stepped up and picked up a couple pressures there as well. So was happy for him and happy for his success.
You talked about being more consistent, Matthew. How does that happen as a veteran, as a leader?
Yeah, it's just execution. We can't have chances to make plays that are going to change the game one way or the other, and not make those. And we just got to be a little bit more consistent in how we execute. And the only way to do that is to continue to work. It's not like you sit there and flip a switch on and it either happens or it doesn't. You just go to work and continue to trust in the habits that you're doing, a week in and week out basis, and know that when we get this 3-hour window on Sundays, we just go cut it loose, trust yourself, trust your teammates, and that's when the good stuff happens.
Sean, describe that interception, not necessarily your decision, but that interception is just a killer in terms of, start. How do you view it in the moment, and how do you kind of move past that?
A lot of football left to play, so better move past it, in my opinion. It was a good play by TJ. I obviously did not see him, and thought I put it into a good spot, and then all of a sudden he flashed in front and made a great play. So, he's a big-time player, made a big-time play. I don't know if it was the next drive or 2 drives after that. We went down and scored a touchdown, take the lead back. So that's the only thing you can do is just keep playing, keep trusting yourself, trust your teammates. Been doing this long enough to know that it's never going to be perfect, and just figure out kind of why whatever happened, good or bad, and learn from it and use it for the rest of the game.
All set.
Thanks, Matthew.